Welcome to the International Classroom Podcast, where we explore the world of education through a global lens. As a teacher, you know that every student has unique needs, experiences, and perspectives, and we believe that a global perspective is key to creating an inclusive and effective classroom. In each episode, we bring you insights and discussions from experts and educators around the world, sharing their experiences, the challenges, and solutions in the classroom. Whether you're a student, a teacher, or anyone interested in education, we invite you to join us on this learning journey. Now, before we get into today's episode, make sure to follow us on your favorite streaming sites to stay up to date on our latest episodes. If you're watching this on Deep Teaching on YouTube and you've yet to, please subscribe. We've been fortunate enough to have some fantastic guests on, so please do share this with your colleagues and friends and let us know who you'd like us to speak with next.
We're looking forward to it. Let's just start and we can go through everything.
Yeah, cool. Hey, how are you?
I am tired today.
Yeah.
I am tired. Not even a good reason to be tired. I was home by 10:30.
Yeah. You don't. Yeah. I mean, at least you don't look it. You look pretty good.
No, if I look anything like I feel, I am slipping down there. End of season coaches brunch.
Yeah.
Very lucky. So the team I coach for, Dubai Tigers, so they're down. They moved this season down to the police academy. So it's called Tigers Parks, right near the Madinat. So we exit down that through the back entrance into it. Really nice. So the coaches do yesterday. So it's the coaches, the managers, first aiders, chairman who runs it. There was 40 of us, I think, give or take, at the Radisson Blu in Media City.
Okay.
I think they're one of the sponsors from this season. Great time. Didn't start till 2:00. I'm running around in the morning now, got nothing to do.
And
I'm
not coaching
my kids.
10:30. That's a long old day, though, isn't it?
2 till 10:30. Yeah, in any way, shape, whichever way you cut that, that is a long day. What started off relatively civil and social.
Yeah.
And then,
carnage.
Yeah, I left because I basically got glass in my hand.
Yeah. It's that brute strength grip.
It's not. I don't think it was that really. I think I just got past it in a weird way with a bit too much force, and maybe I went a bit too hard. And
you were too eager to.
I was desperate to get hold of the drink, obviously, and then.
What was in the drink?
I must have just been gin and tonic.
Yeah. Oh, fair enough.
I'm at an age now where I'm just like trying to keep away from beer.
Who is this guy?
Saying about that, I was out with some of your friends or people that knew you from work. Goes into what is the small world that is Dubai.
Yeah,
you come across
everyone
teachers.
knows everyone,
especially when you're a teacher.
Yeah, the community. Well, there's especially British teachers because the British people only go to the places where there's other British people.
Yeah.
And then everyone who's British who's a teacher. It's about 50% teachers, and then 50% do other stuff.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, you end up knowing a lot of people.
Yeah.
Or a lot of people knowing you, at least.
Yeah, the latter sounds worse. It's like, if someone goes, I know of him. I've heard a story about him before. I was like, it's probably all true.
Yeah. Is he the guy? Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So, no, that was great. It was great to end the season. Like, we have under 6s all the way to under 19s and men's and stuff. So, really good end to the season.
Oh, it's really good, mate.
But it's been a busy month. What have you been up to?
What have I not been up to? Not in a bad way. It feels like I haven't left the house. I was not housebound, but we were down to one car for a while. My car was having a few issues, as is always the case with whatever car I buy. This is my 5th car in Dubai. 4th or 5th car.
So you had the Q7.
I had the Q7.
Then you had the Nissan.
Then I had the Nissan 350.
Sky?
No, 350Z. Beautiful car.
Yeah.
Then I had that Mitsubishi Mirage for a little while. That was terrible.
I don't remember. Yeah, that's probably why I don't remember that car.
Yeah. It was an in-between car.
Yeah.
Then we got the Jeep Compass, and now we're on the Jeep Wrangler. And the Wrangler is great. I love it off-roading, taking it to the desert every weekend, or when it was cooler and working.
And now?
Gearbox went, so I had a gearbox rebuild. And
do you ever just think it might be worthwhile, like spending the money of all the cars that you've bought?
Yeah.
If you rolled it all into one, you could have just bought.
Well, that's what I did when I first moved out here. I bought a fairly new I'll never buy brand new. I don't think I'll never buy brand new, but very new Q7. And then they just had issue after issue after issue. And then I thought, oh, well, I've had the family car. Never had a family.
Friends. Lots of friends.
Everyone jumping in the back of that. And then I got the not the Q7, the 350Z, the little sports car, and that was so good, so fast.
Fit, 2 people in it?
Yeah, I could only fit 2 people in it, and it wouldn't go over speed bumps, but that doesn't matter because, I had fun. And then, a couple of in-betweeners, and then we've settled on the Jeep now. So Em's got a Compass.
Yeah.
I've got the Wrangler. And the Wrangler's been great. Like, it's so good to drive. I mean, it doesn't go over 90 kilometers an hour, which I don't mind. I drive pretty slow anyway, pretty chill.
Yeah.
Just put on some Sam Cooke and, bounce along. But when something goes on it, you think, oh, there's loads of Wranglers in Dubai. Like, everyone's got a big Jeep. Everyone's got, there'll be parts everywhere. And it's just not. It's really difficult to find the parts. So we had to get a full gearbox rebuild, and that set me back a fair amount. So we've not been going out as much as as much as we want to.
I can imagine. Well, that's your first expense.
Yeah, and then we are also moving house. So one of the big things in Dubai at the minute is the house prices are going through the roof.
Renting wise,
yeah. Rentals are flying. The market's in a proper expansion, I guess. And we are in a place that is absolutely lovely, but it is becoming a little too expensive to live here on teachers' salaries. So me and my partner are both teachers, and we get a housing allowance if we really wanted to stretch it.
Yeah,
we could stay if we wanted to stay, but then we wouldn't be saving anything. And then what's the point in being here if you're not?
Yeah, exactly.
If you're not saving any money,
Hearing that a lot from a lot of teachers, and actually not even teachers now. I think even it's starting to affect everyone else higher
other sectors, yeah.
Other sectors in terms of, and their housing allowances can be vast. But then you get accustomed to a certain way of lifestyle potentially. But everyone is saying that now landlords, what they're charging, the cost of things is just ridiculous. And when you think about it, if you put it into a pragmatic, logical sense, what you're paying a year for rent in some of these houses
is a deposit back home. 1 year's rent could be a deposit.
I reckon if I did it and going, right, if I'd have rented, for what I've paid in rent over the last however many years, you could have paid off some people's home. I could have paid off a house.
I think I would have paid off a house, yeah.
Yeah.
I think definitely, almost definitely. When you think.
It's just, I don't know where it's going to end. What's going to stop it? How's it going to stop it?
Yeah, is it going to plateau? Is it going to end?
You're pricing a lot of people out. And a lot of people are going to choose and go, well, I can't afford to stay in this country anymore. The problem is they've allowed it now to escalate, and I don't know how they're going to stop it.
Well, our landlord was asking for around a 50% increase.
Yeah.
And there are rules in place. There's RERA, which is the rental agency in Dubai, and you can put forward a claim. One of the issues with that is, in order to put forward a claim, you have to pay 3.5% of your current rent anyway. So if you're paying 100,000 dirhams, you've got to pay 3,500 dirhams just to open the case.
Yeah, and that in itself is just...
Which to me is, that's 3,500 dirham. That's the deposit on the new... That's a deposit on a new house, or a deposit, a rental deposit, I mean. And I think one of the things we're seeing when you say it's affecting lots of other people from other sectors, we're definitely seeing in the community that we live in now before we move, the caliber of car has increased significantly. Yeah. So we were only talking today as we were driving in, and a G-Wagon was passing us. And I said, this is the first time I've seen a G-Wagon in our community. That just shows how the house prices are changing. So people from further down, closer to the city. I live quite far out of the city. Alex has to drive quite a way to get here to me already. So the people who are in like the next 2 communities down are moving into here, and it's kind of having a domino effect further out of the city. So we're actually moving further away. Now, one of the benefits is we can get a bigger house for a cheaper price. So we're actually moving to a place that is bigger than here. Much like the actual house is much bigger. Garden's a little smaller, but we're actually paying 12,000 dirham less than what we pay here already.
Yeah.
So we are making a bit of a saving, but we've decided that we want to look at buying, so we'll make that sacrifice for a little while and
What's
take
that
a
going
longer drive.
I was going to say, how's that going to affect your commute?
Well, for where we work, it's actually going to be a little bit quicker for Em. She's because the new road has opened around the back exit. So because we both work on the opposite side of the city to where we live, it's because our friends live up here, and except you.
Probably.
But everyone else, kind of all the families and the teachers that are at a similar age to us and people we work with do kind of live out here, and it's a really nice community. But everyone's kind of moving out, moving back further. So where we work, the drive is a little bit quicker for Emily, a little bit longer for me, but that's because I drive at 90 kilometers an hour max. So
yeah, this is it. We're fortunate where we are. I think we took it before COVID and got, even with the girls, they're quite happy just for the moment sharing a bedroom. And you live within your means with that, because we're a kilometre from school. I think our landlord 10% has already increased it by.
That's all right.
And if we look at the area we're in and what 2 beds are going for, it's just ridiculous. And we still have to obviously top up our housing allowance.
I was going to ask, are you guys staying there for another year then?
Yeah. Signed.
Brilliant.
The guy's great. You get all types of nationalities of landlords here, though.
And that can be a big swaying point as to whether you want to stay and whether you want to leave.
So we've got a British landlord who I think is in the country, and that makes it a lot easier, and it's just direct to him. So even now, when we used an agent to find it originally, and obviously you paid out your agent fees, but anything we needed doing, it was just direct contact with him. So when it comes to renewing the contract, he's like, "Can you set up the contract for me?" I was like, "Yep."
Perfect.
Yeah, because you can get a blank template of the contract.
Yeah, just get them online.
And as long as he signs it, you take it along to the government entities, you get your Ajari sorted. And that's Ajari, for those of you interested, it's kind of that protective measure for the tenant as well. It's I can't remember what it stands for, but
it's just a contract.
It's like, in a government officiated contract. It's how you get your DUA sorted, everything else. Like, you need to have these things. A lot of things now, when you go for things, you have to take your Ajari with as well. Or so we're quite fortunate in that. But
and I guess if things go wrong, things get fixed.
Yeah, that's it. He's very good. He's like, he'll sort something out, and he'll go, "Can you just pay it, and I'll pay you back?" Which is kind of one frustration, but it kind of happens. It gets sorted pretty quick. If we want something done, we can just message him and go, "Look, can we get this done?" And there is no language barrier there.
That's very good. We had a bit of an issue with the guy who owns this place because we had a leak on the water tank on the roof was leaking. It wasn't a big deal. It was like drip, drip, drip. But every 15 minutes, the pump would go off. So you'd hear the pump whirring. And he came, fixed it, like a botch job.
Yeah.
A real quick fix, bit of sellotape. And it'd be fine. And we lived with that for about a year. And then as soon as we said, right, we're done with this, we're leaving, a brand new water tank on the roof the next day.
Same with the AC. Ours is always the AC.
Yeah.
And he always used the same company, and I think he's changed who he's used for it now, because it's like this is becoming like every couple of months we're having to say it's tripped or something's gone, because all the units are on the roof and they're old. They're all old, and they're exposed to the sun constantly and they're working constantly. So you got to replace them. You're talking tens of thousands of dirhams to replace these things, which again, it's what you invest. You get back what you invest pretty much, don't you, with these? So we're lucky there. It's like with the girls, they're more excited about being able to cycle and scooter to school in the next year. So as long as it kind of stays in that place, because we're in the same, like, we've had that conversation of should we buy here or should we look to buy back in the UK? I think Kerry's more interested in buying back in the UK. Potentially, and we'll see.
The market's a lot more stable, I guess.
It is.
It's quite volatile here.
Yeah, you still have to input the same amount of money as an expat, though.
And we had that discussion, and to be honest, I think if we're going to buy anywhere, we'll probably end up buying here so that we can have a place to live.
Yeah.
And then we can, build a pool in the garden, that kind of thing. We got a friend who's got a pool in the garden, and I don't think he listens, so it's okay, we can talk about him.
We'll tell him this episode to send it through to him. Yeah. He lives here, and he lives around the corner from me.
Yeah, he does.
He's older and wiser than we are.
Very wise old man.
Yeah.
And he did the smart thing and bought in the dip.
Well, no, it wasn't even in the dip.
It was just before COVID, wasn't it?
No, was it after?
That would have.
He still, I know what he paid for it.
Oh, okay.
And then it's probably the house is probably worth a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Because he just wanted something that had everything done.
Yeah.
So you pay for that.
And it's very, very
it's
good.
lovely. It's just around the corner from where I am. But yeah, lovely. And you look at the cost of them now, that house with no work done, it's about the same value, same cost to buy. So the rents escalated massively, but the housings haven't, as in for sale, slightly gone up. So which is weird. It makes no sense to me. I'm not a financial, I just don't get it.
No, you always hear these stories of, such and such a person from this country has come in with a stack of money and just bought a house or just rented for the year, for the next 3 years, and just thrown money at it because they need to be in this country, or they need a place that's not in their country, or things like that. There's certain, certain reasons and stories that you always hear. But whether there's any truth to those stories or what is happening, you never know, do you?
You don't. It's just one of the many delights or challenges as well, international.
It is a challenge.
And it'll be interesting where teachers choose to go, especially if you're a teacher, you don't have the salary to work. Because even another friend of ours, both teachers for Talim, I think he lives up here and I'm having to move.
Oh, really?
With his family. It's just landlord's cost.
I think I know who you mean. Yes, yeah. And they're looking at moving to where we're moving to.
Yeah.
I think a lad you work with. Yeah. I do know who you're talking about. They're moving out to where we are.
Yeah.
Teacher family. 2 kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
like I say, it's not a bad thing. The houses are bigger. They've just built a whole new community centre. There's like all these facilities, and what we are finding now is that the newer places are being built with this kind of central area where everything is done. Like Town Square when that first opened, they built the big park that was supposed to be a little bit like, it's called Central Park, I think.
Yeah.
And there's a big park and games and splash park for the children and stuff like that, and it's all very family orientated.
You need that because you are a way out, and so you've got to have the amenities.
Exactly.
And if you don't, no one's going to live there. Because I think that's the biggest thing for Kerry, is just the drive. Like she has to drive quite a way to work anyway, but it's just like the traffic. I'm not interested in that. And if you go out getting a taxi, where the kids go, like driving in the morning to clubs. I think the problem is that you either have lived with it and you're fine with it, or you've got accustomed to it and then you're like, oh, okay, I don't want to.
No, I totally agree. We don't mind the drive because 25-minute commute for me, it doesn't matter. I've got to drop the dog off anyway, so drop him off at daycare. Doggy daycare every day.
Mine just stays at home. He's fine with it.
Yeah, you're lucky that your dog doesn't destroy the house.
He's got no separation anxiety whatsoever. So we're dead lucky with that. But okay, so you got the house. You moving?
Yeah, so we're moving house. Car's all right now. That's sorted. I've got a car back. We've had a few people leaving the country. A few friends leaving. So we've been kind of doing things. What the weather's been really nice is instantly it's kind of just crept up. Crept up. Very recently, I think.
Highs of 40.
40 in the car yesterday. Again, this might be a problem with the car, not the.
You've got no roof on it.
Sure, it's no. I've put the roof back on now. Yeah.
Nice.
It did say 47.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was. It's crept up, but we've been making the best of the weather, having barbecues, having playing paddle, things like that, and there's paddle courts everywhere now. This is the new craze in Dubai. I don't know if it's in the UK or in the US or anything, but there just seems to be a new paddle court on every corner. It's like the new Starbucks.
Money making as well. Like you think I don't know what it would cost to lay it, but the average cost must be 250, 300 dirham an hour rent wise.
Yeah.
So if you think you got a few of those, make your money back dead quick on them, wouldn't you? Like a friend of mine was saying, if you have 3 courts, and you got to put staff in there, you rent them. It's like the third one is what you're making your profit on, type of thing. And it's seen it in schools. That's now it's been built in schools.
I think there's a few schools have built paddle courts, haven't they?
Yeah, I know between Bloom and Brighton.
Yeah,
there's paddle courts there.
Okay, so I know Arcadia have built some paddle courts. Because
it's one for things for schools as well. They can rent them out. Same with all the other facilities.
Really easy as well, like something for the kids to do, break time.
Oh, yeah.
So we're finding currently. I'm at quite a new school, a new build school, old school, but we're in a new build, and we're finding that space and things for the kids to do at break time is becoming a bit of an issue. So this might be something I can speak to the owners
because now
about.
we're probably a week away. I think from next week.
I think we're on red breaks.
Yeah. So for the red breaks is when we pull all the kids in.
Too hot outside.
Yeah, we've stopped them playing football now. Like it's just too hot. Luckily, humidity.
Duties.
Oh my god, the humidity hasn't quite followed the heat yet. But I guess they give it a couple of weeks and the humidity will be there. And stood outside, you're just sweating and you can't get rid of it.
At
the moment, it's just warm.
That's the one. Duties for us, you stood outside in a shirt and tie, trousers, and going to say something a bit controversial here. It's kind of all right for ladies because they wear floaty dresses or skirts or things like that.
Sandals, open toes,
open
flip-flops.
toe, yeah. And we've actually, I was having the discussion with Emily the day before about dress, and it's quite. We were really lucky that in my school on Fridays we have casual Fridays for staff. It's great. I can go to. I mean, I'm fully covered in tattoos, so I still have to wear long sleeves and long trousers. But that's a decision I've made.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that because I've made the decision. But if all of a sudden the male staff lose that privilege of wearing shorts and wearing a polo shirt, for example, on a Friday, because members of staff are taking the mickey a little bit, maybe showing a little bit too much skin or anything, I think that's really harsh on the male members of staff who wear shirt and tie every day.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
No, I get it. I do. I understand that. Especially
I understand why why.
We have
both sides.
In science, we have to call it health and safety. It's like, and I'll happily just go open to you might as well just walk around barefoot in a science lab. It's like it's just dangerous. Health and safety. But I don't know if anyone out there would ever enforce it. But
no, I actually don't know I know a lot of schools have this thing about if you're wearing sandals, you have to have the back on them. There has to be a back. It can't be flip-flop style. I don't know if that's written in the policy. No flip-flop style.
I was going to say, maybe. Just rock up to work with some linen trousers and some Birkenstocks.
And a fedora.
Let's see how that goes down.
Like our cigar smoking friend.
Oh, yeah.
He'd love it.
He just looks, exactly. Look just like him on his casual day. So that's going on. How's, I suppose we talk about school?
Yeah, we better. Yeah, I suppose we should.
Classrooms. Have you got exam groups? Do you have game time?
No. We've had exams this last week though. Okay. So we have early entry for our year 10 and year 9s. Things like English. So we had some students taking English as an additional language. There's the GCSE there and a few Arabic students there listening. Yeah,
Arabic's gone on ours. We've got English. Not next week, the week after, early entry English.
No, this was for English as an additional, So
we've got year 10s doing English. We've got GL assessments. Had TIMS.
Yeah, TIMS.
As well. So all these international different assessments that take place, measure progress or how the country's doing as a whole. But our year 11s, we got year 11s and 13s off.
How is it having game time? Because it has now been 3 years since I've had game time.
This one feels, I suppose last year was weird, but this one feels like a more normal, one. Because in the years gone by, because there weren't the exams, but we were in school, we kept 11s and 13s in and ran like a mock into year 12 and a mock year 14, like TAC classes and courses for them. So you didn't really pick anything up. Whereas now, I think I've picked up, so 2 A-levels and 3. So I've only gained 5 hours. But one of the ladies from our department is going off on maternity as of next week.
Oh, okay.
So picking up a few of her lessons, and then one of the chemists is having to pick some of the year 12 up. So again, everyone's kind of having to do a little bit uptake Key Stage 3 or GCSE, just to balance it in for a few weeks, which isn't so bad. But it's nice to have it. You finally can get things done. But at the same time, like the kids are coming back in for some of the exam revision. But it's just it's trying to think, right, what is it we need to get done? We talked about this before in terms of game and goals for next year.
Yeah, getting everything in place and planning for next year and getting stuff done.
Yeah.
That's great when you've got the gain time.
Yeah.
It's very difficult when you're not.
When you're not, I'd imagine. So, and there's not a massive amount that needs to change for us. Like our A-levels are what they are. Our GCSE's fine. So we're always looking at Key Stage 3. And biggest thing at the moment is this gain time, still having to close off the appraisal cycle.
Oh, okay.
So I've been doing
observations.
lesson observations. That's actually been the theme of mine for this week. So what I've started to do in mine, and if anyone's listening or watching this, I mean, you probably know, I'm just picking a theme every week just to try and focus in on PD and share and talk about that. And this one has been about continued professional development. And obviously within that, lesson observations come in because that's what I've been doing. But it's so interesting when you start doing the research or looking at literacy and how people do it, and you talk to people how it's done versus how they would like it to be done. And I think I even put a post on LinkedIn yesterday before going out. It was like, if you can have anyone observe your lesson and give you the feedback, who are you going to choose? Some of the responses pretty good and pretty
David
interesting.
Attenborough would be mine.
Interesting. He's going to watch you teach and give you feedback on your lesson.
Yeah.
Interesting.
David Attenborough.
Why David Attenborough?
Oh man, one, to meet him, that would be amazing.
Is he dead though?
No.
Which one's always his brother?
David Attenborough.
It's his brother that's dead, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know about that. But this would be incredible. Because he'd be so interested in what the students are learning. And I think, so he did the geography lessons through COVID. He did geography lessons for the BBC. And some of the stuff he was talking about, obviously, unbelievable.
Yeah.
But he's so in love with nature and so in love with the environment and so in love with, sharing that knowledge. I think he would be so, he kind of throw out the rubbish.
Yeah.
You haven't done this literacy scheme, or you haven't targeted questioning and bounced it up. Or you haven't. There's so many things in a classroom that are directly focused to ticking boxes. And I think he would kind of throw that away and look at what are the kids learning and are they enjoying it? And it would be as simple as that.
It's the whole back to curriculum, isn't it? That's where you get to the end of the year and you just start thinking, what's your curriculum like? What's this? Yeah. And you're trying to, and you want to do stuff, and it's like,
just to go back to what you were talking about before, it's really interesting you're saying observations are the theme, or your theme of this week. And that's because the whole of last week, so as we've spoken about, our head of teaching and learning is going off on maternity next year, and I'm
same as ours.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I'm managing to take over some of that responsibility in the interim while she's away, which is quite nice. So I've been observing a lot. I think I taught 4 lessons last week, and the rest I was in other lessons and giving feedback and things like that with her. And it was a really, really great experience. Particularly, I think the best thing was getting into lessons that aren't my subject, that I'm maybe not familiar with. So I saw a couple of science lessons, a few science lessons, and I've got to say I saw some of the best teaching I've ever seen. Not from science, but over the week generally I've seen some of the best teaching I could ever think of. I've also seen some stuff that wasn't
what you'd want it to
what
be.
you would want it to be.
Yeah.
Now I'm not saying that the boxes weren't ticked or anything like that, but sometimes when you're trying to do so many things, student engagement or student learning, I don't want to use the words like progress and attainment or anything like that, but the learning's maybe not there.
I've been deep diving into that, and I've got a YouTube. That's a YouTube video coming out tomorrow. So past tense for this, but one of the things we're going to move to next year in our school is going to use Blue Sky.
Okay.
So I've used it before in a previous school out here, and we're going to implement it. And they ran a course or like an interview with a guy called Dan Brown, who's teaching and learning director at Dulwich College in Singapore. And he was talking about how they do it. Now, obviously, they don't have the same pressures that we do in terms of yearly inspections. I think that doesn't help things. But he said we have tick box observations and we have developmental observations. And we've both been in that box, and it's almost like every observation is a tick box because you're going against DSIB, checklist of things that you can do. What they say is an outstanding lesson, but that doesn't mean then that what you're getting is the developmental part. And basically, to cut it short, it's a case of you need the right person observing the lesson. And the feedback, even on the LinkedIn post I was telling you about, a lot of people are saying, why is it always SLT that come to watch who now don't teach anymore? And it builds into this idea of, another thing I talk about, experience versus expertise. And if you dive into that, it's like, I watch loads of lessons only in science. So, and that's the downfall. I want to go and watch other things. I want people to go and watch other things. But I could say I'm an experienced observer. I know the framework of a lesson, what I'm looking for. There we go. But it does not make me an expert. And the most challenging part, and where I'm shifting my pedagogical practice and professional practice too, is about instructional coaching. So I've always done loads of coaching, whether it's performance-based or then rugby coaching. But instructional coaching is different. And what you're doing is then when you're sitting and giving that feedback, you agree somewhere. So if I was going to observe you, we'd have a conversation like this now, and you're going to say, hey, Alex, I'm going to do this lesson next week, and it's going to be on this topic. Great. Can you come in? Can you focus? I want you to really look at this area for me. Perfect. You're directing me. And I can, great, I'm going to come in and I'm going to look at evidence. I'm going to try and gather some evidence for that, and then some points about what are the strengths of it, and then try and offer you some suggestions, directions of how you can improve that. We sit down, have that conversation as a two-way street, and I'll be like, well, you did it. How do you think it went? And I can say, look, I noticed this. That was really good. But I think we've got some opportunities here. If you tweak this a bit, so set that out as a goal. Right, now we go and practice. And we can practice it away from the classroom. So you do it, or I'll model it for you. Depends on your level of teaching. I'll model it so you can see as a visual representation what it looks like. You go into the classroom, you do it again, you feed back, I'll come in and see it again, and then we go.
Yeah.
Which is what we want it to be. But if you said to me, right, I want to focus on a question, my higher order questioning, I want to use this. For me to be an expert, I have to have a really strong mental model of what that looks like and what it should entail. And so if I went, and I've got a teacher in mind, she's going, right, I'm going to use Rosenshine's principles of instruction. I'm going to use a Marge model. Some people go, okay, I know what that is. And other people go, I don't know what that is.
We're a Rosenshine school, so...
Yeah. So for you, you've got a level of expertise, or at least a development of expertise that comes in with that. You could have someone watching you who does not.
And has never read...
or knows anything about it.
Anything surrounding...
How are they going to provide you the developmental feedback you want to improve in that area? And that's the issue we seem to have with observations, is it's one, who's observing you and their level of expertise, but also expertise comes into feedback at the end. So when I'm now feeding back to the science teachers, I'm not talking necessarily always about science content. We know that's important. They've got to have it. You can easily do that. It is the practice part they want. So it's like, we set goals like, okay, generative learning. It's like, so you need to have a model of what that is. You've got to have, and it's challenging therefore, because it's like, you've got to know so much pedagogical practice to be an effective coach in that. And so I've seen a few schools here, and I'm going to speak, funny enough, with one of the companies next week about trying to implement it in ours about instructional coaching. Because it's one thing as middle leaders, no one trains us, tells us how to do it.
So I messaged you about a week ago about a program, and I can't for the life of me remember what the name of the program was, but we're going to be moving towards this. When you mentioned Blue Sky earlier,
oh yeah,
I messaged you said you've got the books surrounding it.
Walkthroughs.
Walkthrough.
Got
That's
the books.
it. The name was on the tip of my tongue then.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is it? I was thinking Walkabout, but that's a club from when I was back in the UK.
Yeah, Walkabout. Is it Australian or South African Walkabout?
Yeah, Australian place, I think.
The walkthrough. So Tom Sherrington, he's one of the, I don't know if you probably say, because I don't think he's that old, but he's like a grandfather of, as in teachers who've been around for so long, but putting value back into other teachers by providing, he's the OG of like giving content, books, YouTube, all these things, Teacher Head website, I think it is. So the walkthroughs, you can go onto the website, and it is what it says. It's like, right, I'm going to give you a walkthrough.
Yeah.
And for me, I was trying to give it a thought about it, going, I would consider myself an expert in rugby, like in a coaching, not like high level play, but my level of expertise and mental models of what things should look like, and then transferring that to kids, working with adults, a really strong mental model of what things should do and what that success criteria looks like. The walkthroughs, it's like that. You give someone a walkthrough, right? If I wanted to show you how to pass, or kick or
Yeah.
I can still do that. I can walk you through it.
Yeah.
So the walkthrough section, like with the books and then the websites and the videos, is great, and it has instructional coaching and coaching at its premise. So you're going to go and you're going to get through those things, and you can set out the top 5 or 10 you want people to focus on, and the whole concept and premise of it is really, really well thought through, and you can implement it across the whole school, and the clusters you can get, so you can really hone in on the development part, because you can walk teachers through it and they can see it, they know then what a good one should look like, and then they can continue to practice, and that feedback, that dialogue then, because you know what a good one looks like, even stronger. What we have as an issue is we just go in and observe without a clear focus, and we don't have the expertise to then direct and give feedback like a professional learning pathway should. So I think moving to that, as you can see, I've been on it for a bit, but moving to that, and that's for me, it's like next year we've got our teaching and learning who's going off on maternity, so there's a post to fill that, which hopefully, touch wood, in a couple of weeks can talk about and can share some ideas. We shall see.
Well, good luck.
Thank you. We'll know when this episode comes out. We'll know, so it could either be.
Well, between me and you, good luck. And then, this is fantastic news. Mate, I'm really,
which cake you bringing through? But one of mine is do the tick box, and also with the MPQ, doing that at the moment coincides. Yeah. Do the tick box observation in the first couple of weeks.
Yep.
A teacher will be like, I don't need you to write me a lesson plan. Like, that's a skill with practice. I want to see you teach. As a tick box, where do you currently stand against our criteria?
Yeah.
Get it done. And everyone's like, it's like, you need to see it then. Because for us, we're potentially inspected October, November.
Yeah.
You want to get that done out of the way straight away. And then everything you can do from there is developmental. And that's changing that mindset. And it's giving teachers time to go and watch other teachers teach. Like you just said it.
I found it really, really, considering we are, we're a very small staff body. We've got members of staff who are on maternity, part-time timetables. We are a skeleton crew.
Yeah.
For want of a better word, we do have a very, very small, and everyone is up to their eyeballs with work. Like, and to ask people, can you? I'm sorry, like, you've got to cover this lesson.
Yeah.
We've been quite fortunate that we have had cover teachers in, supply teachers in, but there's also been the element of cover elsewhere. Now that I just pay that back as well and say, well, I'll get you some cover. I'll cover you here, I'll cover you there. It's kind of that balance. But for me to be able to do my job effectively next term, I need to know exactly where our strengths and areas of development are.
Yeah.
And then if I don't know that, I can't just. And this is what always frustrated me about previous PD, previous professional development I've had. One
size fits all.
This is you're good at this, you're good at this, you're good at this. That's great. Let's do training on this. You just told me I'm great at it. You just told me my feedback is fantastic. Why have I got to sit here and listen to a lecture about feedback? And something that our head of our teaching and learning lead has just implemented is, after this round of observations, she's pinpointed 4 members of staff who are fantastic at certain key areas. So one is marking and feedback, one is about leadership, one is to do with engagement in the classroom, and another one about behaviour management. So there's 4 key areas there, and she's directed every single person to one of those 4 to go to.
Yeah.
And then there is another one that they can choose.
Yeah.
So there's this is over an hour and 10-minute session. So it's our normal Monday PD. It's run by one of those members of staff. This is great. So I've been directed to one. I'll go to that one, and then I choose whichever one I want to go to the other one.
Yeah.
The only downfall is those 4 members of staff who are great at that
miss out
on going and seeing some fantastic instruction or coaching elsewhere in the school. Now that's really good for them developing their leadership skills and sharing of good practice and all that. That's my only, and it seems small, but if you're the one delivering that,
but they get paid. And this is, if I was offering you some advice, having done that and organised it previously, is it's just a one round. And the next time you find it, and people do it, it's always the same four. It's always that, or it's always that because they're the best. It's like, well, you got to pay it back. You've got to take them out and do something different,
and do something for them.
But also work with them about how to deliver a type of course, and just go, look, it's the same as teaching. Like you're now facilitating. And again, we've spoke to a lady called Joyce Matthews on here, and she is a facilitator. She's a facilitator. Oh, I love that woman in terms of what she throws out, talking about hutagogy. And we'll come back to that. But a lot of staff, actually, if you ask them to, you can go to it and go, actually, guys, that was either really good because you've got a natural talent for it, or you understand, or you can go, that wasn't great. You didn't put your message across. So my advice would be to actually work with them before they even deliver the session, and go, right, if these are the principles of andragogy, all these teachers have experience. Let them use it, as in tell them what they're going to do, and then show them, model it, and then actually let them do it, and give them an opportunity to practice what you are telling them. And then you're our facilitator. They're directing kind of where they're going, and you're kind of just then offering your feedback and expertise on that area of like, right, yeah, that's great. Have you tried this instead? What would happen if you did this? And because the staff are engaged in doing, they can take it away and use it tomorrow. Yeah,
you've actually just given me a brilliant idea. So one of the members of staff that will be delivering this is a member of staff from my team, and this teacher has been messaging me over the weekend. You know, because this is on Monday that this course is. It's Sunday now, so tomorrow. For those of you listening, and obviously I don't know when this will be actually pushed out.
Later this week, yeah.
So it's Sunday now. And tomorrow the delivery of this is, and I've been reading through his PowerPoint, and he said, I'm going to do it this way, I'm going to do this. And I was like, yeah, it's really good. Maybe link it to this and talk about how we also use, give a little bit of advice there about the actual bones of it. But you've just given me a really good idea for one, like an activity that you could do with those members of staff. So it's to do with marking performers, and it's about feedback, essentially, how to one, save time with the workload, reducing workload, exam style questions, having pre-populated sentences, highlighting, that kind of stuff, but if we had a blank template, one of those that teachers could fill in themselves, like, let's make it relevant to your subject. Yeah. So you're going to see one for geography, if it's mine. You're going to see an example of a geography one, how the kids have used that, how I would have used it, for example. But then here's a blank one that you could take away. Here's like a little takeaway sheet. Have a go at making your own. Like, would this work for? Think of an exam question in your subject. Okay, bam, bam, bam. Have 5-6 criteria of what went well, how they would reach all 4 marks.
But even if
like that.
This guy, he's got that template, so to give them the staff the template already made, give them one. It's just a case of, as we say, expertise.
Yeah, the templates. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Staff just want to do it.
That's a little. Yeah, I'm going to take that away.
And then just get them to buddy check it. Just go, right, or a different department, like make a comparison. Tell me why yours is good. Yeah. Feedback and reflect on it. And this is the interesting thing, the biggest thing I've taken, one of them, from the MPQ course, and I think staff would hate it, but I think it's well worthwhile, is, let's say you're teaching now, so you've got the kids in front of you, and you want to then sort of check their level of understanding of a topic you have done previously. How do you start your lesson?
5 quick questions.
Have you ever been in a PD session where someone's asked you 10 retrieval questions on a piece of PD?
On Rose and Shines that you did at the start of the year.
And even in, like, for the MPQ course, that's like they always use, is it the Education Endowment, or the one they always seem to take information from?
The EEF.
Yeah. It goes in there and says, test, quiz, apply. Yeah. You want to check teachers understand these things.
Yeah. Stick a Kahoot.
Nearpod. Yeah. And I'm like, it's so simple, yet actually that's what you want to know. Because you're going to get a forgetting curve over the summer. And you come in and go, right, guys, we're going to just start every session with 10 quick questions, or a task or an activity where you are using prior knowledge. And then, because then it's like they're engaged, you can see where they're at, and then you know what to do. If you're getting someone who consistently comes in and like, I don't know what this is, like, as you say, Rose and Shine's instructions. I don't know
this again. You're just giving me hundreds of ideas here. This is brilliant. Thanks. So we are running induction sessions Thursday evening of this coming week and the Thursday after for the basics, because this was a gripe of my initial 2 weeks induction of this year. We sat through a week worth of training that without
how can we say this?
Without being big-headed about it or anything,
of no value.
I knew it. It was pointless. There was no need for me to be in for the first week.
Yeah.
Or the first 4 days at least. And then there's the safeguarding training, which we have to do every year, which is great. And there's always useful and always really but there's some training that was completely pointless for me.
I think that's the same at every school. Like now, I'm still at the point where technology is changing. It's like, why can't you put everything, like mine is, put it on OneNote or put it on Teams, video it.
Videos.
And so staff can go in, and even as a pre-one, and this is again, like the guy from Singapore was saying, it's like we have these specific packs or videos we can send out. I'm there going, use my skills. Because I'll happily go in and I've said to my staff, you're going to get your video, you'll get your lessons videoed. Just in science if you're going to come in and get your lessons videoed.
Yeah.
Like what? Like in PGCE? It's like, yeah.
It's quite...
And it's like, for me, it's not a big deal. Like you can see I've got the kit, so I can happily go, just put the camera there, it'll go, clip a mic on you.
Yeah.
And we can just trim it to focus on that one area.
Do you remember Teachers TV?
Yeah, we've said yeah.
Oh, have we spoken about this before?
But it's the same principle.
I used to love that.
But you can learn so much from it. So you can go around and go, right, I've got a collection of these, and actually you can see, and then you can reflect and feedback. It's not a difficult thing to do.
No.
I've done it I even did it for a friend in primary because she had to send a lesson off for an interview. It's like, yeah, I can do that for you. Yeah. Easy. Dead easy. But it's just one of those things that's so effective but undervalued. I just don't do it because you don't have either the staff with the skills or the desire to do it.
Or the equipment.
Yeah, equipment. Yeah,
now,
that's it. It's not. Maybe that's what I should be doing. I should be going around going, right, guys.
Oh, come on.
Part of that. Can you set my website? My new website does that.
Shameless plug.
Incoming. Yeah. So
it's actually a really good segue.
Deepprofessional.com. 6 weeks. I think I've had that. So the idea behind that is like to do more writing, but I wanted to have it like as a one-stop shop for professional development, global professional development, or more professional learning.
I have got to say, this is not because I'm your friend. It's actually really good. And I was so annoyed that it was really good.
Spent my Easter making the website, and then the aim is to sell courses. I'd say sell them, but also to have those on there, not just give up on YouTube and still put stuff out, but stuff that's specific to staff and run. I want to run a conference. That's my big thing.
The chat GPT stuff that you put on there recently, and there was an article I was reading. It was about 3 weeks ago now. A lot's gone on since then. I can't remember exactly. No, it was about ChatGPT. It was about...
was that the course I gave you access to?
Yeah, the freebie.
Yeah, my beta version of the handbook.
And that was, as I was reading through it, I think I was texting you and sending you little snapshots and stuff. Yeah, you were. And it's so well done. It's so well. So if you are interested, this is completely off what we normally talk about, but if you are interested in learning things about new tech that's coming out, I'd definitely suggest getting in contact with Alex. And
I've set myself the goal to have the course done and up by the 1st of June.
Ooh, that's like a week away.
Well, we're filming this on the 21st. Yeah, we're filming this on the 21st, and so I've got 50% of it done.
Yeah,
I've got two more things to do, and then it just needs properly trialing through to get the bugs out. And
there was a cut, there's a few little...
So some people have worked through it for me, but that's my big aim, and it's still very much in its infancy, and there's lots more things to do with it.
Target setting and goals,
this year we started the podcast, and it was then, someone said to me, you should write, now I know what DEEP stands for, you should write a book. I was like, no.
And now you're going to write a book?
No, I'm not even going to write a book. I'm like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to make a website, and if I'm going to do it, or I'm going to make an app, that's the aim of it.
And that's the future anyway, isn't it? I mean, I was going to say who reads books anymore, but a lot of people do. But like my missus reads all the time she reads, but I've never seen her once with a book. She was on a Kindle. Yeah.
This is the thing though for me, and it's my method of learning, is like show me it, or at least dual code it. So show me it and give me some of the key points, because I want to see what it looks like. And I think that's always the thing that's missing for teachers. And this is again why the walkthroughs are good, because you can see it, hear it, visualize it. is just say, show me it. And there's not many, and I think, again, I'm big into skill stacking at the moment. I think that's taking my skills, as in the video side of thing, and being able to put it into there. It's just the time.
It's like I was saying earlier about these induction sessions. This is what we want to do, is reduce so everyone's on that base level.
Yeah.
Like you said before about having that, and then we can really hone in on what people need specifically in that induction week that we have to have. We have to have an induction week because there's certain things we have to get done, like safeguarding, like paperwork, visas, all that kind of stuff the medical stuff, all the stuff we have to do at the beginning of the year, and we do need all staff in for certain elements of it. Great, but then the rest of that time, rather than going through stuff that we've already gone through, if everyone's at that base level before, so the induction sessions are only for the people who are joining the school next year, because everyone theoretically is constantly being hit with solo taxonomy. Everyone is constantly being hit with Rosenshine's principles, because that's what we kind of live and breathe within the school anyway. It's just a cult, like that's the culture of the school. And then when it does come to next year, this will be right, well, the new staff are actually off doing their medicals or whatever it might be. There's a workshop on for teachers, for classroom management, engagement, whatever it might be, based on the observations that we did last year. This is where we think you might want to check it out. But then when you say that, the very first day, the very first thing, I think we're going to do a quiz and get what do you remember about Rosenshines. And then, you know what, if you've not remembered an awful lot, maybe there is like a top-up session, or I don't know, is that a little bit condescending?
Even the guys from the course around MPQ, and it's about leading teaching development, saying we don't have top-up days, and I've been advocating this in my school. It's like, we want a pedagogical top-up. We want to be able to go in and go through all these different things to top up, like even about, you know, it peaks and troughs. So if I said to someone, tell me about Cog Science, tell me about Cog Sci, and that peaks and troughs as it goes through. Tell me how, and this is what we said, tell me how you learn. Tell me how learning takes place. And some teachers be like, I get it, is in terms of working memory to long-term memory, and you've got visuospatial notepads, and you've got phonological loops, and it's like, that's human biology and psychology, I get it. Some people like look at me and you go like, what?
You read things and remember them.
And so you want to, and this is, again, when I spoke with the Shaba about the teacher training, and you see, again, teacher training courses and Cog Sci, the importance of it. We don't get top-ups on Cog Sci, just like go, right, PD on this day is just going to be a carousel of top-ups. We're going to do 30 minutes or 25 minutes, and you can rotate. There's 3 choice. There's 6 on. We're going to rotate. You do 3 of them. And I'm going to put you into a group. You're not signing up. It's directed. Put you in. This is the outcome. This is what I want us to take from it. And there's a top-up. And you do what you would do normally in a class as a teacher. You go, right, I'm just going to start every PD session, every other PD session with a quick quiz. Because, again, you'll know where everyone's at. And then they'll be like, they'll get it. So, there's a theme to this. We're actually getting tasked with using this and having to retrieve it and do stuff with it. Because what's your biggest gripe? My biggest gripe about PD? It's no value. Why isn't it of value? I can't do anything with it. Do you mean can't? Well, I don't have anything valuable to take away from this that I can use or do with. It's just not there. And you see it across loads of them. Make it a value. Think about it. Put yourself in that place. How do you make it a value? Give me something I can take away. Give me something I can use. Give me something I can do.
So this builds on, I don't know if I talked about this before. I had a PD session. It was only a few weeks ago. It was very, very recently.
What's her name?
Yes.
Gadsby?
Yes.
I can't remember.
Yeah, with the reading lady. Claire Gatsby, yeah.
That was it.
You
mentioned it to me. I've got her on LinkedIn.
Ah, yeah.
I saw a photo.
She's a nice lady. Yeah. She's, a photo of me in the, I see what you mean. Yeah, and I tell you, she was fantastic because she gave us tangible. It was only the leadership team in the PD, and then obviously we can then feed that back to our teams and how we can use some of the tactics. And it was all about getting students reading in class, just reading more. It's kind of moving away from old methods of popcorn reading because that builds anxiety and things like that, and moving more towards these like chains of reading, things like that. And some of the little actions and things I use in my lessons all the time now. And these have started being filtered down, and I actually saw a few of these methods used in other lessons. So the other heads of faculties, heads of department have obviously gone back to their staff and said, oh, try this, like this, and it's working.
Yeah.
You know, the kids are, I wouldn't say they're enthused about reading, because quite often students aren't enthused about reading. But I would say that they are way more willing to read a section of text now, because we know there's going to be some kind of game going with it, or there's going to be there's going to be something,
there's a purpose
that's useful for them. Yeah, and it's, you know, even if it's putting an action to a word.
Yeah.
And they know, oh, it's going to be a bit fun, and it helps them remember. And then as we've tested them on it, as I say, I was in the English as an additional language exam, and there's certain things I'm not allowed to talk about or anything like that. So I'm actually going to stop myself there.
Okay. I've not got the brain power to figure out how I can explain it.
Yeah.
Now, but it's a value. What we can take from that is a value and purpose.
So when I've done geography tests, for example, I would always, this is something that I did years ago, was if you've got the plate boundaries, you'll know about this, science, And I always see, whenever there's a question about destructive plate boundaries, I always see the kids do this to I'm making a hand gesture if you're listening.
There's a video,
to this. There's a video there. They always do this,
like,
and you can see them in the exam, and you're like,
yeah,
I know which question they're on, and I know exactly what they're doing, and they're thinking about how an earthquake's formed or something like that.
So that premise is like almost dual coding. It doesn't always have to be what can be we associate with image and word. Yeah, you can code it and put two things together like that. They're in the head, they're doing the word, but they're doing the actions, like kinesthetic type of stuff. So it's
and
it's
you
that.
see it. I remember year sevens in a test years and years ago. This is when I think it was when I did my PGC, maybe my NQT year back in the UK, and there was a row of about 12 kids all doing the hand jive, the plate tectonics hand jive.
Yeah. It just, and again, goes to show, doesn't it, in terms of, they talk about intent and impact, but it's that purpose and value. So back to that point, PD and moving forward, you're seeing a lot here now. I think there's a few more. I've noticed an increase in it, and even over the last couple of weeks with international teacher trainers coming out, or schools, bringing them out and doing one or two different things. And that's what I'm trying to do that next year. I want to bring someone out next year. I'm not sure if I can. I'm not sure I want to pitch it just purely for the school or open it out. But it's then if you pitch it for schools, it's one of those schools could pay. They could still pay, but I could go, look, I want to organise this. It's for 12 people. Yep. This is what it's going to cost you per person. I could ask my school, or I'm sure I could find a school to run it in, but it's like a Saturday, Sunday, Monday potentially. Yeah. So it's 3 days, and see where we can go. Because I think it'd be great. I think it'd be a great thing. I've only got like inklings of it, so I'm not sharing too much at the moment until something can be confirmed. Cryptic. I'll tell you off air. So I can confirm it. I can't be bothered to edit this out because I just save myself a job. But things like that, you're seeing a lot more, aren't we? We've seen a lot more people come over, even coaches. Yeah. And then you've got these teacher trainers and all these other things. So, and I think that's needed, because even though for us as teachers, we're not, as we go back to it full circle now, we're not experts in everything, are we? No. So having someone come in who is, say, we're independent schools. Fee-paying schools. Yeah. You want your teachers to be better.
Pay for the training as much.
Pay for someone to come in who just go, look, or you speak to someone, because I guarantee they're going around other schools. I guarantee you find someone who's like, look, are you going to be in Dubai at any time in the future? Let me know. We'd love to have you in. Yeah.
I think that's how we got, for example, Claire coming in, and I think in the UK it was much easier to get guest speakers in because it's a train ride. For especially we're a British school. I mean, people definitely want to come out here, but then who's paying for the flight? Yeah. Flights are expensive, accommodation, things like that. Yeah. Then it becomes very expensive to have Mr. P in to do a kind of, or Pi Corbett. I'm thinking more on the primary lines now as much as the secondary lines. We had MC Grammar in a few weeks ago, and he's fantastic, but it does cost a lot of money to get that in. Yeah. And to get that training. And as much as we are fee-paying schools, we're fee-paying schools, you've got to have a profit. Yeah. So is it cheaper from a financial point of view to what's better, what makes more financial sense. Get newer teachers in who are younger, who've just finished their PGCE, NQT year, who have had this training very, very recently from the PGCE that they've paid for.
Yeah.
Or pay for older staff who have got many years of experience and therefore maybe don't want to be as interested in learning new things. Maybe have become, we've spoken about this before.
Yeah.
About teachers not being wanting to be engaged with that kind of thing. What makes more financial sense?
Yeah, that's
so there is that element to it as well. I know as in a perfect world you'd be right. Let's everyone get this training.
Well, you just kind of go, look, what's your PD budget? Tell me what your PD budget is this year, because there will be. And like, this is the thing about Blue Sky. It's great. You can get people applying for. So you're going to go through all these courses and go, right, these are available. This is what I know is available for this term. Apply. You want to do something, you apply for it, and we'll agree it. But you've got to be pushing it out to people. Once you've got a breakdown of where your staff is at, and you know their strengths and you know developmental areas, you can go, look, this is going to help you make your strength even stronger. Okay, but this is also, you can go, this will help make your area develop. Help there. It's like, apply for it. We've got a budget. We can have one. Like, I think even ours at the moment, I'm sure, I don't think it gets used because nothing gets pushed out to us. It's off your own back. So you're kind of thinking you've got a PD budget that's sat there that, we all know at the end of the year it just gets recouped in.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, someone's going to cost 25,000 dirham, and the value and the impact of that on staff, if it's part of your theme or overriding project of the school, the impact that's going to have exponentially filtering down is huge. So if you can work with every you pay 25,000 dirham, but so you got 50 members of staff doing it. Well, I think my maths is fine. There we go. So I was going to say, it's only cost you 500 dirhams each. And what's the impact of that going down to the kids and the impact of their learning? It's like, you tell me the price of that. And it's like, actually, financially then, it's never 25, it could be more, could be less. But if you think this person as a business has got their own flights over.
Oh, yeah.
And then obviously this is their profit. It's like, I'll come in for the day. And it's like, for a day working with this many staff, it would be a case of, even if they charge £250 a person or 500 dirhams a person, it's like, actually, if you make that 25 for an hour's work.
Not bad.
That's my dream.
Not bad.
But yeah, so
anyway, Alex is also taking bookings at 25,000 dirham an hour.
Imagine that. That's where it's one thing I'll get to that. That's maybe next year. It's more consultancy.
I love it.
Like outside of school, but lots of people approach me about STEAM, science. Can you send me a copy of your CV? I get that a few. Can you send me a copy of a lesson plan? I get that a few times over LinkedIn. And it's not to say, I mean, don't get me wrong, I do share them.
Asks me for anything.
I share them, not free, not even, so I would happily, but I'm just kind of thinking, well, hang on a minute, this is part of my scope. It's certain times and other times, look, I'm happy, but you can have a one-to-one with me about anything. It's 150, 200 dirham an hour type of thing. If you want to sit down and plan or go through, and that's additional too. It's going to be part of the deep professional.
No, and that's brilliant to have those professional learning conversations with people if they're trying to better themselves, and it's a great way. What I think is a great way to spend money on improving yourself.
Yeah,
it's that
invest in yourself.
That's what I was thinking. Invest in yourself as much as investing in bricks and mortar or cryptocurrencies.
No, spoke about that for ages. But yeah, so that's where we're at.
Yeah. Well,
I think we're up to date on everything now.
I think that's everything, yeah. I think there's a lot going on in the world.
That's it. There's
a lot going on in the world of Alex. There's a lot going on in the world of Drew.
And that's even without talking about
summer plans.
We'll save that for another episode.
We'll save that for next episode. I have got the best summer planned, which is why I've got which is why we're having to move house.
Need that extra money.
That's it.
Man. Yeah.
But I'll tell you about that when
in the next episode.
On the next episode. I'm so excited to share as well.
Oh, I can't wait.
It's it's pretty good.
Till then.
I'm actually, without bigging it up too much, I'm really proud of what we're doing.
Oh, mate, can't wait. Till then.
You guys got your plans?
First 2 weeks.
You got the first 2 weeks planned?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right.
Great.
No more.
That's it. Cliffhanger.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the International Classroom Podcast. I hope that our discussion has provided you with some valuable insights and perspectives on education from around the world. If you've enjoyed this episode, subscribe on your favorite streaming platform to stay up to date on our latest episodes. If you've got any feedback or any comments or suggestions for future topics, we'd love to hear from you. You can reach out to us on our website or on our social media channels. Remember guys, education is a lifelong journey and we're excited to continue exploring the world of education with you. So don't forget to subscribe and we will see you in the next episode of the International Classroom.